Welcome to Satsunami. Hello everybody and welcome to the final episode of Mario Month. My name's Satsunami and joining me today is none other than the Mario aficionado himself. It is Martin MacAlistair. Martin, welcome back.
Thank you much for having me. You know, I've really enjoyed Mario Month so far. Looking forward to this last wee wrap-up episode, so happy to be here and ready to talk some more Mario. How are you?
Not too shabby, I have to say. I'm actually surprised that we got through so many episodes this month. We of course talked about Super Mario Odyssey, we talked about the 2023 film, and last but not least, we had a very interesting discussion about the politics of the Mushroom Kingdom. But of course, you know, it's been an absolutely fantastic time recording these. So, popping on to you before I decide to delve into this, what were your favourite memories of this month?
It's been a cracker. I enjoyed just kind of reminiscing about Super Mario Odyssey. It's a game that inspires a lot out of me, and I think we kind of had a good time reminiscing about it and chatting about what makes games good. That was really good fun. Can't say the same for the Super Mario movie, but it was fun to chat about, and you know, I've seen that quite recently, so it was nice to have someone to talk to about it. And then last week's absolute nonsense, forms of government, economies, property problems, all sorts of interesting things. So it's been a fun month.
Hey, you say nonsense. These are real problems in the Mushroom Kingdom. Thank you very much. You'll be hearing from our red panda lawyer after that.
Your red Koopa lawyer.
Yeah. Blue shell lawyer. That's at the end game. But no, in all seriousness, it's been such a fun month to do with you. Of course, I have to agree with you there. I think that talking about Mario Odyssey and really reminding ourselves why we love Mario so much was such a good time. Absolutely loved talking about it, replaying it for this month. Again, I'm totally with you there. I don't really feel the same for the film. I thought the film was, as I said in the episode 2 weeks ago, it was alright, but could have done things better. Last week was an utter riot. As crazy as it got.
I caused a riot.
Literally, they're still putting out the fires. But as I said before, Mario is one of those series that is just beloved by everyone, even 40 years on. And it's incredible that he has, no pun intended, star power behind him. The fact that a lot of gaming icons have either changed or adapted or just are non-existent nowadays. Cough Banjo-Kazooie. Off Microsoft, I'm calling you out. The fact is that so many people still love this franchise, they still love the series, and it's honestly incredible to see. I went to social media to ask a few of our lovely Pandalorian listeners out there what their thoughts were about Mario, why it was so special to them and such. So are you ready to listen to a few of these ones?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
So over on Twitter/X, we have NovaBrush, the amazing VTuber, saying, I remember when I was young, I played Super Mario World. I got really excited to meet Yoshi and ride on his back, but was horrified whenever the game would let him fall to his death in a wide pit so Mario can make the big jump.
No.
I think that is probably a very common sentiment.
Yes.
Very common that a lot of people weren't too happy about making the big jump and putting them into the big egg in the sky, where he will finally pay his taxes, but that's a whole other rant. That's next week's episode. The Family Plot podcast said that they are going to go old school and say that Donkey Kong was one of their favourite games of the series, which, fair point. Dan from Casting Views, who is another amazing member of the Podpack Collective, he said, as I didn't have consoles when I was a kid, Commodore, Amiga and the PC were his things. My introduction to Mario came through the OG Game Boy game, Super Mario Land 1 and 2, which is actually quite interesting.
That's fun.
Even on that small monochrome screen, it was such a fantastically addictive game. All you could want as a kid with that bit of kit, which is honestly true, to be honest, because it's like, no matter what form Mario comes in, it is amazing to see that people gravitate towards that one particular game. For me, it was Super Mario 64. For others, it might be the NES game. It is just really cool to see that. Over on Blue Sky, though, we have a number of ones, which is absolutely amazing. Away for Keyboard says, one of my favourite Mario memories was Mario Kart DD. I remember my friend invested in the network adapter adapters for the GameCube,
Ooh.
so we could all play 8-player Double Dash in the same room.
Amazing.
Fantastic, by the way. Yeah, I remember that, the adapter. It was like coveted, I think, amongst gamers. Baby Park was just pure chaos. I can understand that. The Nerdiest One says, my favourite Mario moment was doing the 1-up trick in World 3-1 of Super Mario Bros. You can get as many 1-ups as you can without going overboard with it. That is true. I think, is that not where you get the Koopa shell?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Retro Pipe says, there's one moment that stands out from all the Mario games, experiencing the hammer suit in Super Mario Bros. 3. Since I can't find a gif of that, my fallback is the backflip and triple jump from 64. Not gonna lie, that is a cool gif. I mean, it's like, damn, I wish that were me energy to being able to do that. And finally, Dang Nguyen on Blue Sky says, I have a lot of great Mario memories, which includes the games that I played, which also includes Mario Party DS, Super Mario Party, and Mario Golf Super Rush. So thank you to all of those amazing Pandalorian listeners for messaging and reaching out. Honestly, it was great to read your memories on it, and I just love the fact that everybody has a very core memory about Mario. You know, it's not a case of, it's all right, I guess. You know, there's that one game that they gravitate towards. So thank you so much for doing that. But without any further ado, as you know, at the end of every theme month, we do a little trivia quiz, which is always a laugh. Well, it's a laugh for me, maybe not the person who's answering the questions. So, Martin, are you ready for a Mario-themed trivia quiz?
I am terrified, but I am ready.
So, to go over the rules for the Pandalorian listeners at home, and please feel free to play along, I will be reading out 10 statements about the world of Mario, and after every statement, Martin has to decide whether what I'm saying is true or false. And I won't be telling him the answers until the very end of the game. So
I can't play the true false game.
No, you can't.
Oh, no.
It's going to be interesting. So, as always, Pandalorians, please feel free to play at home and let us know what score you got, because I would love to hear it. But without any further ado, let's once again jump up Superstar and dive into the world of Mario. Welcome to Satsunami, a variety podcast that discusses topics from gaming and films to anime and general interests.
Previously on Chatsunami, we've analysed what makes a good horror game, conducted a retrospective on Pierce Brosnan's run as James Bond, and listened to us take deep dives into both the Sonic and Halo franchises.
Also, if you're an anime fan, then don't forget to check us out on our sub-series, Chatsunani, where we dive into the world of anime. So far, we've reviewed things like Death Note, Princess Mononoke, and the hit Beyblade series.
If that sounds like your cup of tea, then you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and all good podcast apps.
As always, stay safe,
stay awesome, and most importantly,
stay hydrated.
I'm Dean, I'm the dad.
I'm Laura, I'm the mom.
And I'm Kristlyn, I'm the daughter.
And together we are Family Plot.
The Family Plot Podcast, a show where we discuss history,
folklore,
true crime, and the paranormal.
Minus all the oogie bits. We are PG-13.
I'm almost 15 now.
Don't ruin the commercial.
Do catch us looking into special topics like
the origins of fairy tales,
Sherlock Holmes,
and the trial of Dr. Hyde and Mr. Swope.
Find out who Dad Man Crush is,
or what happens in Krista's Corner.
But behave, you two!
So come be a part of the fam.
Available on Google, iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. The Family Plot Podcast. Bye!
And we are back. So, Martin, are you ready to go?
Let's go.
Question 1. There has been only one game where Mario has been the antagonist.
Ooh. Now, my brain's racking here. I want to say true because I can't think of anything, but only one is quite specific. Are we counting Shadow Mario?
No.
Right,
like
okay.
actual Mario.
Yeah.
Mario.
There's
yeah.
no gimmicks here.
Yeah, no. I just want to point out as well, there's no strict
Sure.
questions in the sense of, oh, well, there's Shadow Mario, which technically counts. No.
After Dragon Ball Month, you'll learn your lesson on that one.
Oh, don't you start.
Let's go true. Let's start off on a positive note.
Okay.
No, don't do that. Don't do that, brother.
Question 2. Bowser was initially conceptualized as an ox, but the reason he became turtle-like was because the illustrator misinterpreted the design.
He does have the horns in some depictions, doesn't he, and stuff? But I'm going to go false for that, because I feel like maybe it was like a different animal or something, like maybe there's different things. I'm going to say false.
Okay. Question 3. In response to Sega's Nintendo campaign, Nintendo proposed an ad campaign which featured a cartoon hedgehog comically run over, but was ultimately pulled because it didn't fit Nintendo's family-friendly image.
Love that. That feels so 90s, but it doesn't feel very in Nintendo. So I'm going to go false, but I do think that might be something that has definitely been done by like another company. That feels like a Sega or like a Atari kind of run.
Question 4. Mario has appeared in over 200 games.
Ooh, that's fun. There's so many. Last week we were living in the Mario universe, and it got me thinking. It's like, there's go-karting games, there's the football games, there's the golf games, there's Dr. Mario, the Smash Brothers. I'm gonna go true. I feel like it's got to be close. If it's not 200, I'd be shocked if it's not in the hundreds.
Okay, question 5. After the success of 2008's Smash Bros. Brawl, there were plans for an anime starring Mario as the protagonist. This, however, was cancelled due to fears that a cinematic universe would not work.
Oh, I kind of want to say true on this because there's the longest piece of writing in the universe is a Smash Brothers fan fiction.
Oh, yeah.
So I almost want to say true on this because it feels like the kind of thing that someone would have liked to have done in terms of a media, but then logistics got in the way.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go true. I do think I'm quite gullible though. So I feel like I said true to most of these, but true. Alright, let's keep going.
Question 6. Super Mario Odyssey was initially planned to be released for the GameCube, but was shelved as developers were not confident that they could run it.
I'm going to go false for that one, mainly because I feel like it's actually smaller in scope than Galaxy and even maybe Sunshine. So I'm going to go false.
Question 7. Mario was originally a carpenter, not a plumber.
That's so specific. False. I have no idea on that one. I've never heard that before. False.
That was such a quick answer.
I'm just trying to think of, because they had the one, it was like the landlord or something, and I don't know. I can't think. I'm going to go false. I'm panicking.
Question 8. The song Peaches in the 2023 Super Mario Bros. Film was improvised.
Yeah, I'm going to go true on that. I know Jack Black's got the whole, is it Pitch Perfect and stuff? He's a bit like that. So I think I'm going to say true.
Question 9. After the success of Mario Kart 64, the developers wanted to pad out the roster of the next game to appeal to a wider audience. Taking inspiration from Wario and Waluigi, evil counterparts of Peach and Daisy were conceptualized under the name Maria and Francesca. These, however, did not make the cut.
Yeah, I'm going to go true for that because it felt like, so obviously Waluigi's never appeared in an actual game. That's like the big talking point for him. So it does feel like if they were to pad out the roster, they would just pad it. So yeah, I'm going to say true on that one.
That's actually crazy though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, little Waluigi's not in an official game. Hashtag justice for Waluigi. This trivia quiz interrupted for that. And last but not least, question 10. Are you ready for this?
No. I've been ready for none of these questions. I think I've got them all wrong. So hit me with the last one.
The origin of the iconic Mario villain, the Chain Chomp, was brought about because Miyamoto was chased by a dog but was saved because it was chained up.
See, that feels like one of those things that creative people would do. I'm going to go true on that one, but I do feel like this might be like a Studio Ghibli thing where it's like actually not him and it's like Miyazaki or something, but I'm going to go true on this one.
Final answer?
Yeah. What have I got to lose?
Everything, Martin, everything. The co-hosting rights.
Oh no.
And by the sound of that klaxon, we have indeed reached the end of the trivia quiz. This one is a bit shorter than usual, but you know what? Cannot wait to hear your reaction to a lot of these.
I think I've done very poorly. I'm going to say that up front.
Well,
I do like to, as we go through them, justify my answers that I gave. I'll see how my justifications panned out.
So, question 1. There has only been one game where Mario has been the antagonist. You said true, and apparently that is true.
Ooh.
It was from from the 1982 game Donkey Kong Jr., which I think followed up from the Jumpman game and things like that, where you had to rescue Pauline from Donkey Kong, and I think then Donkey Kong was captured by an evil Mario, and there was like the art and everything. It was really interesting because I never even thought of that Mario would be, portrayed as a villain. You know, that way that a lot of these companies have mandates for their characters.
To be fair, I imagine that would be a lot more strict now. I feel like you couldn't do that now.
No, 100%. For the second question, Bowser being initially conceptualized as an ox, but it was because of a misinterpretation of the design that it became a turtle, that is apparently true.
Wow.
The full story, and again, I don't know how much of this is hearsay, or as far as I know anyway, it seems to be true, but apparently Bowser was initially sketched as an ox by Miyamoto, but then his drawings were given to the animator Yoichi Kotabe, who saw this ox and then drew him as a turtle, which actually explains why he's got the horns and everything.
Yeah, I honestly was just Googling it right there to Google Images search, because in my head it's like, he's got ox horns, and when you said it, I was like, oh, I wonder. That is actually really, that's fascinating.
Yeah, because apparently as well, which I thought was interesting, that the two of them came together and had a wee bit of a conflab and went, no, this is a turtle. And they came together and finalised the design, which was cool. But yeah, it's more based on a turtle rather than a dragon, because I think people assume that he's got the lizard scales and he breathes fire, therefore he must be a dragon. No, of course not.
No, it was silly.
He's just a turtle ox. I mean, come on, don't pretend you don't see them every day. For question 3, in response to Sega's Nintendo Don't campaign, this is false. Yeah, you got this right.
I suspected someone else had done something similar though.
I cannot remember what specifically it is, but there is a game series that I'm sure came out for the PlayStation 2 that did that. It was like a fantasy game, but they had all of the other game mascots skewered or in a pot or something like that. It wasn't graphically violent, but they were all kind of like chained up, and it was like Lara Croft, a parody of Sonic, which, to be honest, you couldn't really tell it was Sonic. It was like so far away.
Yeah, legally distinct, far away, yeah.
Legally distinct rodent, yeah, and a couple of others at the time, but as far as I know, they didn't do that, but I can't imagine they would have at the time. They were definitely way too clean, as it were.
Yeah, Nintendo have always been very clean. That was kind of what gave it to me, was like, Nintendo have always been very clean, that kind of violence doesn't feel like them. It does definitely feel like a Sony thing, or maybe like a PC thing. That kind of your mascot's dead is definitely something they would do.
In the good old days.
Back in the day, because the adverts would put chest hair on you.
Well, to be fair, they did kill a cow in one of the Sonic adverts.
What?
Well, not literally.
Okay.
I think it was when Sonic Adventure 2 came out, and it's, they were trying to advertise Shadow to be like, oh, he's the bad hedgehog. But it's like they either lowered a cow or they put it into this bit, and it was as if, oh no, the cow's been attacked by this bad hedgehog or something. It was a really weird advert. I'll need to look up and send it to you, because it's just, I can't explain it. For question 4, Mario has appeared in over 200 games. That is true, apparently. And we're going to list them all now. I've actually got the list here. So Mario NES, Mario Bros 2, Mario Bros 3, Mario, again, I feel like you're going to wait and see how far I take this joke.
Yeah, I was gonna let you go, because I thought you were gonna get fade the voice out and just come back. Mario Bros 199, Mario Bros 200,
and Mario Bros Wonder. Wow, that was. I mean, there's probably more after Wonder, but let's face it.
That's the thing, yeah. I imagine it adds up so fast, because I feel like every Nintendo game that has Mario has a sequel. I know his mainline games don't always, but you know what I mean? Like, it feels like every game has its own franchise that he's in. So it's not just like you're getting a go-karting game, you're getting 50 go-karting games. Like, it does add up.
Because, I mean, you've got Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, you've got all the sports games, you've got the spin-offs of Mario, you've got, just everything, really. There's just so much there.
Mobile games now.
Oh, God, of course. Mario 100. Or is it Mario 99, sorry?
Mario 99, yeah, sure.
Nah, Mario 99, yeah.
Mario Fortnite. Mario Gate 3.
What's Mario Gate? Oh, yeah, Baldur's Gate. Mario Gate 3. Yeah, just so many of them. For question 5, about the Super Smash Bros. Getting an anime, that is false. As far as I know, there was no plans for that. Did you see what I did there by adding 2008, though? Because I wanted you to think about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I think that came out in 2008, Iron Man. So I was wondering if you were going to pick that up.
I did think about Marvel, but then I was like, I don't want to cloud my vision on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For question 6, Mario was originally a carpenter, not a plumber. Apparently this is true.
Oh, is this the thing that he's based off the landlord?
What is that one?
I don't know. I just feel like Mario's based on a real person, but like not actually based, but like as in they pinched a bit of his design.
Quite possibly, to be honest.
Sorry, what was the carpenter then? So he just happened to be a carpenter?
I mean, if you look at Jumpman's design, you know, he's got the tool belt and everything.
Yeah,
he's got the hammer. So maybe, I'm guessing that's what they're getting at, that he was originally a carpenter, and then after the games, when they finally decided on a final design, they said, let's make him a plumber from Brooklyn. Why, I don't know. But again, I'm not part of a multi-million-dollar company that sells Mario plushes. Oh, I've skipped a question, sorry. Question 6. Sorry, the one before that I've completely skipped. Super Mario Odyssey was initially planned to be released, but was shelved as developers were not confident they could run it. That was false. You were right.
Hey.
As far as I know, there was no plans for Odyssey at that time.
But I'm surprised actually I brought this really up. But it does feel like an extension of Mario 64. It's the same feeling. But again, you know what I mean? The paintings and the thing, it's obviously a spaceship now, but you know what I mean? It's not tonally so different.
Oh, 100%, yeah. The next question about Peaches being improvised. Now, I don't know to what extent it was improvised, but as far as I know, that's true. So that was, of course, Jack Black kind of riffing on the song, and then they kind of ran with it and worked on it. Again, I don't want to make out as if it's like, you know, those really bad AI videos or just like Reddit posts where it's like, did you know that they ad-libbed this whole movie? It's like, no, they didn't. What are you on about? So yeah, technically it was improvised to a degree. Sounds about right, to be honest.
Yeah, I would accept that.
The next question about Maria and Francesca being evil counterparts of Peach and Daisy, that is unfortunately false. I actually couldn't think of evil names, because I was going to say Wah Peach and Wah Daisy, but that sounds silly.
Have you seen the comic or the meme that is talking about this?
No,
About Peach and Daisy. So obviously when you flip Mario's M upside down, it's a W, and that's Waluigi's logo on his hat.
Oh my god, I know where you're going with this.
So obviously if you flip a P upside down, it's a D. So Daisy's actually the evil twin.
Well, there you go.
I mean, I don't think that's any way, shape or form true, but I love the feeling of it.
I mean, that is actually crazy, but that's solid evidence. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, it doesn't get more solid than that. Last week we were chatting about what conspiracy theories would there be in the Mushroom Kingdom. There's one for you.
Yeah. And for the final question about the origin of the Chain Chomp, that is apparently true, that Miyamoto was chased by a dog, but he was saved by getting mauled by it because it was all chained up and it traumatized him. And that actually explains why the Chain Chomp makes a dog noise.
Yeah, barks.
I've never actually got that. I've kind of thought, well, why? Why does it make a dog noise? But now we know. Yeah. It is weird, the kind of things that, you know, when you're creating something and you take inspiration from things that have happened in your life, you know, that kind of moment that is traumatizing, you would think, oh, I'll put it to the back of my mind, not make it part of one of the biggest video game franchises of all time kind of thing.
I think that when you get creative people like that, they often draw on those kind of childhood fears, or like, it's like a big thing in creative arts in general. I think like I feel like that story of, this was drawn inspiration from this terrible thing that happened to this person happens a lot in animation and games and stuff.
So overall, out of 10, you have got 6 out of 10, which actually not a bad spread, to be honest.
There's some tough ones in there. There's some believable stuff you came up with.
I'm getting better at it. I'm like, you know, one of these AI bots that just keeps getting better and better. I'm learning after Dragon Ball month. For anyone who doesn't know, I wasn't specific in my wording, so I had to give away half a point.
Oh, you were too specific, I think is what actually happened.
No, I got actually to my own quiz. I'll tell you what it was that.
We caused a revolt.
But no, jokes aside, Martin, thank you so much for doing this whole month with me and being an absolutely fantastic co-host and joining me in this nostalgic trip down memory lane while wearing a stylish cap, of course.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, so thank you so much for having me on. And it's funny because I feel like we've barely even scratched the surface of everything that we could have chatted about with Mario. Like this has been great. I've really enjoyed these last few weeks of podcasting. We've not even touched Mario Kart, we've not touched Mario Party, there's the Princess Peach games. There's so much to talk about that we've only had to dip our toe in just to bring in a little bit of the fun, but there's so much still to go. So yeah, I'll see you same time in 10 years' time for the 50th anniversary.
Set your timers now.
Set your timer. Put a reminder in my calendar. That's us. 2035.
God, in 10 years' time, what season will that be? Like season 15 of Satsunami? Oh, that's a big one.
Jump up, superstar, but our knees are so.
Slightly raise yourself, superstar.
Gently get off the couch, superstar.
Gently slap your knees and go, right.
Alright, I'm off out.
I'll see you later, superstar. Of course.
Time to put on the kettle, superstar.
Watching Coronation Street, superstar.
There's so much to talk about in Mario. I had a lot of fun talking about what we did. There's so much more to uncover and unpack. So I think I would just say to everyone that listened, enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening on. But, go let us know on your social media, like what Mario stuff you like and what did we miss? What else could we have talked about? What other questions could have been asked? What questions should I have been asking of Satsu when we planned this? Yeah, I've had a lot of fun. How have you found it?
That's all right.
Oh, all right, okay. Let's just call it. I'm slapping my thighs and standing up slowly.
Right.
Right. That's us. Thanks, you, Dan.
Now, jokes aside, I have found this such an absolute blast to do, but I always feel the same way every time I finish a theme month. Like when Adam and I started the Halo month, the very first theme month. Well, I say first theme month, it was the first official one, because technically the first unofficial one was the JoJo stuff with Blowfish Man. I feel as if every time I do a theme month, whether it's for gaming, for films, for any property, I never get through enough of it. Like especially with Sonic Month, although we covered every single age of Sonic, we could have talked about so much more. Same with when you and I talked about Pokemon, there was so much more. You're always wanting to talk about more, but at the same time, if you leave a wee bit for next time, then it's something to look forward to for the next episode, and it means that we've got more time to prepare for these games. So, no, this month has been fantastic. It's been a long time in the making, but I'm so glad that on Mario's 40th anniversary, we finally get to do it. And yeah, it's such an iconic series. It's such a special series. As much as you and I have joked about it, and as much as I am a Sonic head, let's face it, can't deny facts. At the end of the day, this series is so special to me because it's one of the few series I started out with in gaming, and whether or not I still followed it afterwards, you can't deny how iconic it is. So genuinely, it has been a fantastic month, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. And the next theme month that you and I are going to be doing, of course, is not next month in April, but in May, where we're going to be doing Animation Month. Love that pun. But yeah, we are going to be talking about a wide range of topics, so I cannot wait to announce that. And
yeah, can't wait to talk about the Minions movie 4 times in a row, so that's going to be really exciting. Just, different riffs on that, 4 weeks of Minions. It's going to be phenomenal.
Is there not an anime like that where it's like the same episode, but just slight differences? So it's just like the same episode of us talking about Minion memes.
There was a podcast, what film is it they watched? And they just kept watching the same film over and over again for like a whole year, and they reviewed it over and over again. It was a pure trash film as well. I want to say it was like Grown Ups, or Adam Sandler's Grown Ups or something. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Happy birthday, Mario.
Happy birthday, Mario. Enjoy that mushroom cake. Before we wrap up, Martin, where can these lovely listeners at home find your content?
If you want to find more of me, follow my journey through the wacky and fun world of wrestling, look at me pointing at things in Mario movies and playing Pokemon games, you can find me across the social medias, mainly Instagram, TikTok and Facebook at Martin MacAlistair.
And if you would like to catch up with the rest of Mario Month, as well as episodes from ourselves, including Pokemon Month and Dragon Ball Month and all the other amazing theme months we've done, then you can check us out at our website, chatsunami.com, as well as all good podcast apps. I also want to thank our amazing Pandalorian patrons, Robotic Battle Toaster, Sonia, Ghostie and Cryptic1991. Thank you so much for supporting the show. And if you would like access to exclusive content, behind the scenes, bloopers, early access, as well as the rest of this trivia quiz, then you can indeed check us out at our Patreon page, patreon.com/Chatsunami. This podcast is a proud member of the Podpack Collective. For further information, please check us out at our Twitter/X page at Podpack Collect. But until next time, we have so many amazing episodes and some special interviews planned for next month, so be sure to look out for that. Stay safe, stay awesome, and most importantly, stay hydrated.